Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Hope and Carter's romantic sabotage is Steffy's worst Luna nightmare. According to the Bold and the Beautiful spoilers for the week of February 10th to 14th, Hope Logan and Carter Walton's love sabotage is getting worse, and Steffy Forrester may be in for her worst Luna Nozawa nightmare. Let's discuss some of the major upcoming events on the CBS soap opera. First, after trying to get Ridge Forrester to agree with her, Brooke Logan can feel disheartened. Despite another attempt to contact Ridge, it's likely that he will be spending Valentine's Day cuddling with Taylor Hayes. As the romantic holiday draws near, Carter might do something special for Hope, but will Daphne Rose ruin their night together? While Daphne is getting ready for her own Valentine's Day party with John Finnegan, Steffy might easily send her off on a sabotage mission. As far as Steffy is concerned, they may have more than one reason to rejoice, as there has been some discussion regarding Finn and Steffy's approaching anniversary. However, given that 2 tests revealed Luna is Finn's daughter, trouble may be on the horizon as a result of his DNA bombshell. How long will Finn hold on to Steffy's amazing news? Will Finn postpone his confession, or will remorse drive him to reveal the terrible truth during their comfortable evening? Naturally, according to BMB spoilers, Poppy Nozawa will have to be concerned about Finn's next move and the potential blowback she may encounter. You can bet that Steffy and Lee Finnegan will eventually vent their rage because of Poppy's night with Finn and the bio-dad secret she has been hiding for so long. Could Poppy go to Bill Spencer's residence and beg for help? She will also continue her search for Luna. If that's the case, Poppy may learn of Luna's unexpected house imprisonment. We'll give you further predictions about whether Bill's covert assistance for Luna will be revealed, since he might find himself in a difficult situation. Will Poppy be informed of Luna's most recent living situation? If so, what will Poppy think of Bill using his magic to get Luna to serve her time at his opulent mansion? According to previews for The Bold and the Beautiful, the week of February 10th to 14th will be full of unexpected turns and contentious exchanges, so keep an eye out. Carter is enticed by Daphne to take a romantic trip to Paris? Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful suggest that Carter Walton and Daphne Rose might visit Paris in the future. As the narrative of Steffy Forrester develops, will Hope Logan's boyfriend be enticed to go on a romantic vacation? Steffy might eventually insist that Daphne must intensify her efforts at seduction in order to complete the transaction. Steffy is obviously eager for Daphne to complete her seduction magic because she wants to restore Forrester authority as soon as possible. Carter is clearly attracted to Daphne, who appears to have the power to influence him. Daphne might easily find a reason to take Carter on a vacation to Paris as their partnership develops. The impending release of Daphne's Forrester fragrance might be the cause. Daphne might organize it so Hope has a scheduling issue and is unable to accompany her if she works with Steffy on this. Daphne may have plans to take Carter to romantic Paris for the story's major finale, where they will combine business and pleasure. It might be Daphne's opportunity to spend more time alone with Carter and completely captivate him. Naturally, Hope's schedule might suddenly free up, allowing her to take a flight to Paris if BMB truly intended to add drama. If Steffy determines that this is the best way to destroy Hope and Carter's romance, she may even set that up. This might essentially be a rerun of what happened when Liam Spencer arrived in Rome and discovered Hope and Thomas Forrester sharing a kiss. Hope might now discover Carter kissing Daphne or possibly having a passionate moment with her in a hotel suite. According to our predictions, Hope may have a catastrophic shock and come to the realization that Carter is not the devoted man she believes him to be. In any case, BNB has sequences from a location shoot coming up. Is Paris the location for those? As more information on Steffy's ambitious scheme for Daphne and Hope's ultimate anguish becomes available, we'll be sure to provide updates. If Steffy's plot succeeds, Hope's life might become a complete train wreck, according to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful. At last, Hope begins to suspect Steffy. According to Wednesday, February 5, 2025, spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Hope Logan's light turns on. Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, why is Steffy Forrester here? When Steffi Forrester Finnegan waltzed into Forrester Creations with her tail between her legs, eager to get to work, Hope Logan found it pretty odd. She claimed that, unlike in the past, she had no trouble following Carter Walton and Hope's instructions. They accepted Steffi and offered her a position at her own business because she appeared serious. How lovely of them. Given that everything was going their way, why wouldn't Steffi be acting appropriately? Hope is finally starting to wonder what the hell is actually happening. She has realized that Steffi's behavior is genuinely out of character. Why is she being so kind and helpful? There must be something else going on. She raises her worries with Carter and Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, but they dismiss her. Hope, on the other hand, is adamant about finding the truth and is not easily convinced. Hope ought to begin overhearing some of Steffi's talks. One or two things she learns could completely alter her life. Daphne Rose runs into someone she knows. In order to woo Carter and crush Hope's feelings, Steffi sent her old French friend Daphne Rose, Muriel Hilaire, to Forrester Creations. Breaking Hope's heart in every way she can appears to be Steffi's yearly ritual. Last year, she did it, and when Hope retaliated, she was perplexed. Unfortunately, Daphne meets someone else who seems far more attractive to her. Does Zend Forrester even have a chance when Daphne targets him? It seems that Daphne has a really potent scent that captivates everyone who smells it. Like Carter, they lose their brains. Does Zend already know Daphne from his time in Europe, or will he be as enthralled as everyone else? Steffi's ambitious aspirations might be derailed by that. Carter caves, cheats on Hope with Daphne. Sparks will fly at Forrester Creations this week on The Bold and the Beautiful as Daphne Rose goes above and above to fulfill her pledge to Steffi Forrester. Carter Walton seems to have completely forgotten about Hope Logan, so there must be some magic in those perfume mixtures of hers. Here are some spoilers for what will happen next on Bold and Beautiful. Carter Walton is completely enamored. According to B&B Previews, Daphne Rose will put on a show with Carter Walton, breaking every dating rule in the inner office at Forrester Creations. Carter virtually stole Forrester Creations for Hope Logan because he has been smitten with her for months. He has a proven commitment to Hope, but the perfume seductress is too strong for him. The Deception of Carter Walton by Daphne Rose. Daphne openly flirted with Carter on Monday's episode of Bold and Beautiful, even making hints about sleeping with him. No man has ever been able to ignore Daphne's approaches, because of her well-established reputation. Carter Walton turned to putty in her hands and didn't seem any different. It's interesting that Carter mentioned her new perfume aroma to Daphne a few times. Could it be his way out of jail with his love Hope? He even said that it was powerful and making him lose his train of thought. Daphne seems to be using her scents to literally drug guys. What substances, if any, cause them to behave strangely and lose their inhibitions when they breathe them in? Hope Logan is going through heartbreak. According to previews for The Bold and the Beautiful, Carter and Daphne will be sleeping together by the end of the week, and Hope Logan will be crushed when the truth is revealed. Do you believe that the romance between Carter and Hope will last, despite Steffi Forrester's hit woman? Will Hope recognize that Carter was coerced and perhaps given a perfume drug? Hope had been sure she was right, that Daphne was engaging in a risky game, spinning a web of deceit and seduction that would inevitably ensnare Carter. However, she was knocked entirely off track just as she believed she was coming closer to learning the truth. To her annoyance, the path she had been following so conscientiously had abruptly become confused, taking her in circles, and she was beginning to feel as though she had been chasing shadows. Perhaps she had been too preoccupied with Carter, too certain that Daphne was only aiming for him. Because she suddenly understood she might have been looking in the wrong place all along as she stood in the design studio at Forrester Creations, witnessing the effortless chemistry between Zend and Daphne. Zend has always been a charming man who exuded confidence in his demeanor. Women were drawn to him because of his indisputable appeal. But his interactions with Daphne were unusual in some manner. As she watched them now, Hope couldn't get rid of the impression that something more was simmering beneath the surface, even if at first she had assumed their relationship was nothing more than friendly, casual flirtation at most. Daphne had positioned herself such that her smile was just naughty enough to keep Zend interested, and her body language was open and welcoming. It was intentional, yet it also felt natural, every giggle, every tiny touch of her fingertips on his arm, every lingering look. It was the type of relationship that was readily written off as innocuous until it was revealed to be so. Hope's jaw tightened as she observed Daphne giggling at something Zend had just said while gracefully tossing her hair back. He leaned closer, his face light-hearted, but there was something in his eyes, perhaps the beginnings of something more profound. Was there something genuine going on between them, or was this just another of Daphne's ruses? Hope was uneasy, since she wasn't certain. She had been so certain that Daphne was playing Carter, luring him into danger with her charms, but it appeared that she had changed her mind. Was this all part of a larger plan, or was she really interested in Zend? Although Hope was unaware, she wasn't going to deny what she was witnessing. Most concerning to her was the ease with which Daphne had diverted attention from herself. It felt as though Hope had been pursuing ghosts, while Daphne had slid into Zend's orbit with ease. Hope had been sniffing around for weeks, trying to find out whatever secrets Daphne was concealing. She had definitely succeeded if this was her method of diverting Hope's attention from the seduction trail. Zend, too? He didn't appear to realize that he was heading directly into Daphne's expertly set trap, if that's what it was. Hope had already determined that Daphne was dangerous, so perhaps she was exaggerating and making too many assumptions. Perhaps this wasn't even a game. However, Hope was unable to trust Daphne because of the way she constantly seemed to be one step ahead of her. She forced herself to move back as she let out a deep exhale. She needed to reevaluate, to start paying more attention and to stop assuming she knew exactly what Daphne was up to. Because she might overlook something crucial if she wasn't careful. Furthermore, she suspected that Daphne's true intentions were anything but harmless. Daphne Rose had always been able to get what she wanted, and she was a master at the game when it came to Carter Walton. Even though Carter had his limitations, it hadn't been tough because he was strong, disciplined, and exuded a confidence that made him impossible to control. After studying him and knowing all the details that would help her entice him, Daphne now had him just where she wanted him. The slightest gestures, inconspicuous times that Carter never anticipated, were the first signs. Daphne had mastered the art of seduction without being overt. A long look here, a gentle touch there. By showing up at the appropriate times and saying the right things, she made herself indispensable and gave Carter the impression that she was the only person who genuinely understood him. At first, he had been cautious and on guard, but Daphne was understanding. She was aware that a guy such as Carter would not be simply brought down, but she also understood that once he did, there would be no turning back. Daphne was perfect in her performance, striking a careful mix between fragility and confidence. She gave Carter enough insight into her background to make him want to keep her safe, enough insight into her ambition to make him admire her, and enough insight into her desire to make him want to be with her. Carter was heading straight into a gradual, calculated seduction. When he thought she wasn't looking, she would catch him staring at her, his eyes lingering a bit too long, his face revealing the internal conflict he was desperately attempting to repress. She could see the struggle between his instincts and the irresistible attraction he had for her. She also made sure to remind him why he couldn't resist each time he attempted to do so. She saw right through his defenses with a knowing smile, a whispered word that left him wanting more, and a casual touch that sent a chill up his spine. Then she pushed a little harder when the time was right. Just enough for him to believe that he was the only person who could actually connect with her. She allowed him to see the holes in her facade. When she talked about her history, she allowed her voice to tremble a little, and when she talked about her worries, she allowed her eyes to sparkle with unshed tears. Everything was well planned, precisely scheduled, and executed flawlessly. Although Carter had always been attracted to powerful women, he also had a protective nature and couldn't turn his back on someone in need, especially if they touched him so deeply. She didn't have to do anything on the night it all came to pass. All it needed was one well-arranged moment of vulnerability for Carter, who was already on the verge of collapse. The silence lasted just long enough for him to reach for her, and she let the weight of her feelings to settle between them. She knew she had won when he did. Daphne grinned against Carter's lips as he finally broke his resistance and took her into his arms. There was no going back now that she had him exactly where she wanted him. Zend had always been self-assured, polished, and naturally endearing, but there was a change in him with Daphne. An electrical device. There was more than just attraction, there was an irresistible draw, a fire that none of them appeared to be able to extinguish. And despite her smart thinking and well-considered actions, Daphne hadn't anticipated this. She had her own plans and objectives, and she most definitely hadn't anticipated Zend becoming such a distraction. However, the more time they spent together, the more she became enmeshed in something she wasn't entirely sure she could manage.
There was no denying their chemistry. Every time they spoke, their gaze lingered too long, and their interactions had an undercurrent of tension that neither of them explicitly acknowledged. It was thrilling, exciting, and dangerously unpredictable for Daphne. She took great satisfaction in being in charge and in knowing just how to take advantage of a situation, but Zend was different. Yes, he was self-assured, but he wasn't irresponsible. She couldn't treat him like a pawn on a chessboard. He was astute, perceptive, and above all, sincere. The thing that confused her the most was that Zend wanted to know her, not simply be attracted to her appearance. The actual her. She was startled by the fact that he saw past the calculating touches and flirty grins. At the same time, though, it excited her. Because she didn't feel compelled to act for the first time in a long time. She could be herself around Zend. Steffy, however, noticed it. She wasn't pleased when she noticed Zend's change and his attraction to Daphne. Daphne never played a part in her intentions. Daphne was an unpredictable element that Steffy couldn't afford, and she required stability and control over the individuals in her environment. She had put too much effort into maintaining equilibrium, and if Zend became involved with Daphne, it might cause everything to go awry. At first, Steffy made an effort to gently step in and remind Zend of his goals and what was truly important. He wasn't listening, though. Or perhaps he simply didn't give a damn. Because he appeared to be more attracted to Daphne each time Steffy tried to caution him or nudge him away. It seemed as though Zend's desire for Daphne was heightened by her disdain. What about Daphne? She was not going to back down. Steffy's attempts to keep them apart simply made her laugh, if anything. She didn't let anyone tell her who she could or couldn't date. Even though she hadn't anticipated feeling this way or planned for it, she wasn't going to leave just because Steffy asked her to. So, the issue still stood: would this unexpected connection cause Steffy's well-laid plans to fall apart? Because Zend and Daphne were exchanging sparks, and once a fire had begun to blaze, it was impossible to put out, no matter how hard Steffy tried. Steffy Forrester had always taken great satisfaction in being a strong, self-reliant woman who could manage whatever challenge life presented. She had struggled against people who attempted to mislead or control her family in both her personal and professional lives. However, she became aware that she had reached her breaking point as she stood in her Forrester Creations office, her eyes burning with rage and her mouth clenched. Steffy was completely disgusted with Poppy since she had gone beyond all reasonable bounds. From the beginning, Poppy's presence in their lives had been dubious. Not even for a moment had Steffy trusted her. Something about Poppy's manner, her overly polished speech, and her well-timed emotional admissions always seemed strange. Now that all had been revealed, however, Steffy realized she had been right to be wary. In addition to having a convoluted past, Poppy was a lady who flourished on deceit and had woven a complex web of deceit, half-truths, and blatant lies. Finn was at the heart of it all. Steffy's spouse. The man she had worked so hard for, the man she had created a life with. The fact that Luna was Finn's daughter had come as a complete surprise, and Poppy had planned the whole event as dishonestly as possible. For years, she had concealed the truth while watching Finn live his life without ever thinking about the fact that he had a child. When the truth did come to light, it wasn't because Poppy had done the right thing, rather, it was because she had exhausted all other possibilities. Steffy was unable to comprehend the extent of Poppy's self-centeredness. Everyone else had to face with the consequences because she had lied, manipulated, and played with people's emotions for her own gain. Steffy was particularly repulsed by Poppy's lack of remorse. Although she had cried a little and acted like the remorseful mother, Steffy was able to see right through her. Poppy was sad that she had been caught, not that she was sorry for what she had done. To make matters worse, Poppy's plots involved more than just Finn and Luna. She had also been manipulating other people's lives by squeezing herself into circumstances in which she had no right to be. Steffy was disgusted by her relationship with Bill Spencer, her dubious previous relationships, and the way she appeared to have power over others in spite of her persistent deception. She had made an effort to give Finn time to think things through, but she was at her breaking point. She refused to allow Poppy's immoral behavior to ruin the marriage and family she and Finn had created. Steffy was more than willing to ensure that Poppy faced the repercussions of her conduct when the time came. Although Steffy was unsure of the precise course of events, she was confident that she would not tolerate Poppy's continued manipulation of people around her. No more. It was enough.